Hey, Gary.
What's up?
You got your New York Pro Scouts hat on.
Yeah, well, the hair's getting so long. It's getting gray and long, so I
It
had to
looks good.
come.
It
Yeah, it's
looks
not bad,
good.
right?
Could be worse. You got a full head of hair, and it's nice. It's flowy.
It's flowy, very flowy.
For everybody out there, let us know if we're looking good and sounding good, and type your questions down at the bottom as we go. Gary,
Yeah,
I guess I got to introduce this from the top. So
sure.
I'm Jesse Manning from Business Lunch Productions. Billy says we're looking good.
Thanks, Billy.
This show we do every Monday and Thursday at 4 p.m. for the New York Pro Scouts. Gary's got the hat on.
I do.
And we are live on Instagram. And that's a new platform we've been having some fun with during quarantine. We do our best to record the episodes. Thank you, Joey. Hey, Joey, how are you? And everybody that's joining in, baseball options. If you have questions, throw them down at the bottom. We'll get to them from everybody. But we released them later so everyone can catch them. And you didn't get yours, Gary. You were the first episode, and we didn't get to record it. So
That's okay.
you're my Robert De Niro, as they say.
Okay.
If you recall, we talked about Jimmy Fallon. Robert De Niro was his first guest on every show we did. So you're always going to have a sweet place in my heart.
Well, thank you.
So, Robert De Niro, you are the assistant GM of the Brooklyn Cyclones.
That's correct.
You are the VP of the New York Pro Hot Stove League.
Yes, that's a given title by the rabbi.
Yes,
So,
Billy Blitzer. And then
yes.
you're a huge proponent of New York City baseball. You helped start the Scouts Hall of Fame. So, yeah. Gary Perone, tell us about Gary Perone again.
Well, it's very simple. I've been very fortunate to be on the platform I've been on for many years. Working with the baseball team in Coney Island, working with the Cyclones, and being with them opened up all avenues for me as I went along. Starting at director of community relations, then going from there and getting promoted every year, and then in 2004, going to scout school and learning about the scouting industry. And that's where my pure passion. I've always had a passion for the game of baseball, for youth, amateur, high school, collegiate baseball here in New York City. But after attending scout school, my affection for scouts was even more so. And being in the game now, this should be my 20th season of being in baseball, which is a long time. I've got to meet a lot of people within the industry and work with a lot of great people over the years. But most importantly, it's, the game of baseball is just bringing everybody together. And that's what I love doing best, is how do we bring it right together?
Beautiful and well said. Before we go further, you had the opportunity, and you know this, that we give our guests to name the show. So there's a minor league baseball. They're affiliated. They've worked with a bunch of teams to rename themselves. The Frisco Rough Riders, the Spokane Indians.
Yep.
We talked about the Binghamton Rumble Ponies as one of the newer ones the last few years.
Right.
So, Gary, you named the show the Hot Stovers the first time.
Yes.
And John Dominio liked that so much, he stuck with it for episode 2.
Well, I say we stay with it then. If it's I like hot stovers. That's gonna be my tag when we do all this stuff. It'll be hot stovers and
hot stovers.
Hot
We're
stovers.
Back to it. It went from Staying Safe with Ed Blankmeyer's title was Staying Safe with Ed. So we're back to the Hot Stovers with Gary Perone.
Good.
All right. Well, we got lots of exciting stuff to chat about, so let's get into it.
Sure.
New York Pro Scouts initiatives. Like we said, you're the VP of the New York Pro Scouts Association, the organization that we're doing this from. I want to talk about some of the new things that we're doing and why it excites you. Because as you've come in, you had ideas and you've seen them put into action. So why don't you start? What are some things that you are excited about right now?
What I'm excited about is seeing that we're able to, the New York Pro Scouts Association has been around for a very long time. And over the years, the Scouts have been there running it. And, Billy's been the leader for so many years, and we have a great dinner once a year. But I think that during the off season, we all sat down, we discussed, New York City baseball, it's one game. Baseball is one game. And no matter which way we look at it, there's a lot of different levels of the game. And being part of the upper level of whether it be Major League Baseball, with the Scouts and minor league baseball, and then kind of combining everybody together, because you have the Greater New York Sandlot Alliance, you have everyone who's doing great things. It's kind of like bringing everybody together and joining a force and being one big, great entity in the city. And I think with especially when it comes down to, and I think some people said it best, I've been watching the last couple episodes, is that, the scouts are the backbone of the game. And Sean Clancy said it really great. And his whole thing was, you have scouts, you have the writers, you have the front office people. Those are the people who are part of the game. And if we could kind of bring that all together, that works out great. And there's a lot of great coaches in this city, a lot of great coaches in the city. And they run great programs, great instructors and everything else. But what happens sometimes too is that parents and everybody continually fall into the trap of throwing their money at certain things that realistically might not be there in the future. And I think when it comes down to the initiatives that are being put forward by the organization from professionals, that we're really trying hard to bring everybody together to kind of have a formation of some sort, and a communication pattern between all levels of baseball here in the city. Years ago, we tried doing something and someone said, "Oh, you're crazy for trying that, Gary. Why are you trying for it?" I said, because if we don't try to do things,
Yep.
It'll remain the same way. And I think the time that we're in right now, with everyone kind of being home, everybody's home right now. Everybody's thinking about different things to do and how to make things better. The Scout Association, in my opinion, is the most educated, wisest. They've been around a long time. They know the path. They've built the path for many of high school and college players here in the city, whether they were coaching before they were scouting, or So I think it's great just to bring it all together. And some of the initiatives that we talked about, and we're in ongoing talks right now. I've been talking with the commissioners of the high schools here in New York City about, in the fall season, we should really discuss about bringing something together that we would all, the Scouts Association and some groups would get together and put together like a league for the high school players who didn't have a season.
Right.
I think that's very important. We do have a stadium in Brooklyn that we'll see when we go back to utilizing it. But when we do get back into the stadium, we're going to need to do certain things. We're going to need to put certain people on the field. And the way of doing it is by having a unification of New York City baseball, bringing them all together. One of the hardest things for me right now this year is, Hojo attendant. Okay.
Yeah, a few years back. I remember that, maybe 6-7 years back. We can get to that question in a minute for sure. Fonzie's here.
Fonzie's here. What's up, Fonz?
Hey, Fonzie. He knows Howard Johnson, I bet.
Yes, he does. The best manager I ever worked with. The best. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, when we look at everything this past year, I have my son now who's been, he's home with me, and he's 13 years old. He's not playing baseball, but he's been doing his routine and everything. Building a routine during this time has been tough.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of coaches that have been out there that have been trying to do some stuff with their players, but it's been tough. So as we go along, we're going to continue putting initiatives on the table to try to get everybody involved. And I think by having people that are on this alone, you see some of the names that pop into this.
Right.
This is New York City baseball, and I think that's the key thing.
So let's talk about something I think is kind of interesting. You touched upon it: expectations.
Yep.
I think that there's this view that everyone's dream. Ed Blankmeyer said this actually in the last episode. Everybody's dream is to play Major League Baseball. Any kid who's ever picked up a baseball wants to play Major League Baseball. But Ed coached at a college level for years. You ask any of these scouts, not every kid's going to play Major League Baseball. Are the parents doing them a service by making that the ultimate end-all be-all goal, investing all their money in it? Or is there some point along the process, and who does that come from, to say that going to college and playing is okay, to say that there's other options out there, and if you fail at that, your life isn't over?
Well, yeah, I'm going to speak from a parental standpoint.
Hey, you're a dad of how old?
I'm a dad. Son? I'm a dad of a few children, but I have one who plays baseball. When you see a kid who is dedicated, like most of the kids that are out there, dedicated, has some success playing, but then they go to the high school level first. And then you got to be realistic and say, well, you have 4 years left to really play baseball. When you look at the number of kids who play all around the world, not just here, There's a lot of kids who are playing. It's very competitive. For every kid that's great here, there's 10 others great in another state. Here in what I tell him is be the best and work towards it. Go to college. College is your number one, because with education at the end, you can never fail. And baseball should always be the dream. Baseball is a passion job. We always talked about this, years ago.
Yeah, everybody does. Every single guest.
Yes, it's baseball has always been the passion job, and when you have a passion job, the passion job versus a real job, going out and working and then going to a game and being a fan of a team is two different things. And I told people all the time, love the game of baseball as long as you can, play it as long as you can. If you get that opportunity to go to the next level, then you have those skill sets, which is very rare. How many people are at that skill set today? Not many. Then you also have the kids who are, if they're good Division II players, Division III, go to a college, right. Go play in college baseball, enjoy that, but make your network of people. One of the things, and I do this on Monday nights, and we talked about this, I teach a sports management class for Long Island University, Brooklyn, yep. LIU Brooklyn, and I teach on Monday nights. And when I meet some of the athletes that are baseball players, oh my God, you're so lucky, you work in baseball, you've done that. It's not about, my passion was the game. My passion's always been about the game of baseball, promoting the game properly, being creative to get people to come to the ballpark. That's a big thing that, that we have to do, but engaging them. But I always tell them all the time, the job that I have today, anybody can have this job. Anybody can do this job. If you want to be in sports and you want to put the time in the beginning, like everything else, you're gonna intern. You're gonna make
your way up.
You're not gonna make good money. So expect that. Every kid who comes out of college today who wants to work in sports thinks they're gonna have a blank check and say, okay, I'm supposed to be making $100,000 a year because I went to college. It's not the point.
You'll probably be in Dayton, Ohio, making $25K. But if you love what you're doing, you're willing to work your way up. Not that there's anything wrong with Dayton. The Dayton Dragons are a heck of a team.
Dayton Dragons are really good. They sell out almost every game every year. What they say.
You'd be lucky to work in Dayton.
No, I'm lucky where I am. Trust me.
Not you, proverbially. Yeah.
I think I'm perfect where I am. Trust me. I don't think we can't take Gary Perone in New York City and put him anywhere else.
I don't know what he would do.
It's like my cousin Vinny. It wouldn't happen. It doesn't happen. So, but I really believe that there is opportunities within the game of baseball. There's different levels. But one of the things that we always talk about too, when college kids come in, they say, I want to work in baseball, Gary. I'm like, okay, but what do you want to do? Oh, anything. I say, okay, would you pick up peanut shells? You're not doing that. Be specific on what you want to do too, because I think that is so important. And if you want to take the time and you want to get into the scouting industry has changed over the years, as we all know. And that's something that I've learned as time went along too. It was different from just the radar gun and the stopwatch and watching with your eyes. And now, it's changed a lot. So, those people who are really serious about wanting to scouting industry, they should really look into those programs that offer strong analytics programs. But they also have to get a network of people that they get to know. And where does it start? It starts in your community, and that's where it starts.
100%. So we had a question. We can go back to this question about Howard Johnson. Have you ever run into Howard Johnson of the Tigers and Mets when he was a coach? We were teammates with Detroit in 78 and 79 in Lakeland, Florida in spring training. I
had the great fortune of working with Hojo in 2001. And then I worked with Hojo again when he managed a team in Brooklyn years ago. I know Howard and his wife and his children very well. We've been friends now. I haven't seen him in a while, but we've become friends over the last 20 years, which I find, and I keep things as real as it could be, because I go back and I think about the people that I had a chance to work with over the years, and Hojo being one of them. 1986, the Mets were in the World Series, and, in New York City, it was crazy. I've had a chance to work with every one of those people, and it's been a very gratifying, fortunate opportunity for myself. But Hojo is one of the good guys. He's one of the good guys.
Dan Palumbo, Athlete PD, Andy Perone, Billy Capola, Mr. Baseball, I assume that's what that means. PS160K. Thank you guys all so much for joining in. If you have questions for Gary, put it in the little question mark at the bottom. We can get to them. Another question that came up, and we didn't get to the last time with Coach Blank, was there was a 12-year-old kid, and he said, what do I have to do to try and work towards getting involved with USA Baseball? Do you have any insight on that front?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Actually, you mentioned Athlete PD. Chris Reyes, who is watching right now. Chris is one of those guys I've watched for many years. He does a tremendous job within Staten Island community and all throughout New York City. He's done an amazing job of getting USA Baseball name out there. He holds tryouts, and we can get that information for everybody, and we'll put it out there if people want it. I think it's a great experience for every kid to be part of. I think it's amazing opportunity for the kids to go to the tryouts and the workouts. And if they're fortunate enough to make it to the NTIS, which is the identification series, it's a great experience. And I speak, I've been on both sides of it. Like, been lucky. My boy played last year, and he went out and played at Cary, North Carolina, which was really a great experience.
Isn't that an unbelievable facility? It's so nice.
It's amazing. It really is. You wake in the morning when you get there. The dew is on the grass. The sun's set behind the outfield wall. I have some great pictures, and I'll just give them to you so you can post them at one point.
Totally.
But it's really, but USA Baseball is a great thing. And I think people should look into more USA Baseball type of events that come up here in the city. And that really showcases a lot of the great kids who play within the 5 boroughs.
So what can we as an organization be doing to be more of a resource for kids, for coaches, for parents? And is there anything we're looking at as an organization to help make this easier?
I think for everybody that's, we mentioned the people, Dan's on this, Fonzie's on this, the experience of the people that are Billy's, here, the experience of those who've been part of this, part of the baseball landscape for all these years. Whether it be at the college level for many years, like Danny Palumbo's been, and then he went into with the Phillies now. And then you've had people who've worked their way up, and the experience and knowledge they have, they should be looking at the Pro Scouts Association as a resource, and coming and looking at us as the grandfathers, I would say, or something, because you have the people that go out there, and I say this all the time. You got the Wahoos are out there who want to just go out there and make money doing this. There's a lot of people who have spent many years doing this for nothing.
Right.
Which I understand, and I learned a valuable lesson years ago from Jack Kaiser. He's like, making money with baseball is part of the game. This is what we do. And I can't say that. Baseball, when I'm working in full capacity and doing my job, is part of selling the game. Oh, my boys, they're on.
Italian American Baseball Federation. Foundation. How you doing?
Yes. Good to see you guys. But I think what's important is the resources that we all have. And it's becoming the resource center for New York City baseball is a key thing. When you have touch points from the commissioner's office to the last little league or youth organization.
A legend, Gary. You're a legend.
I don't know about that, but thank you. I appreciate that. There's a way of getting things done. Partnering with the right groups and right people to put the missions out there. That's where we're very helpful, because there's advice and guidance that can be given. And I think that everybody could always take advice, even until today. If I have a question, I don't know the answer, I want to call someone above me who has the experience and has the know-all. I always said years ago, what bothers me the most out of all this is that you have a lot of people that are out there just trying to do this to make a buck. And that I don't have the respect for that, because of the fact that they haven't worked the pro level. Some of them haven't. You have a lot of great college coaches. Those guys I respect a lot, because they put the time and energy in and the amount of years and time. But there's a lot of people that we need to bring in and use the Scouts Association as a resource. We're like the hub of New York City baseball, because there's so many. You have the writers, you have, like we mentioned before, you have the writers, the scouts, the executives, coaches, and we have the players, and the players too. Billy mentioned before, when you look at the history of New York City players, whether it be going back all the way back, and I know we're going to release that pretty soon with all the scouts who, from the Johnny Francos of the world to the Lee Mazzillis and the Willie Randolphs, the Sean Dunstons, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah, and on and
The
on.
Manny, the Marquis of the world. We've had so many great players here in New York City. That's why we have become more or less, I feel, use the experience from those people, because those people are still associated with us. Bobby Valentine, we can call him on the phone right now. He'll get on the phone with us.
Yes.
Because he respects everyone.
He's back there.
You got Bobby V in there?
We got the little Bobby V behind Fusilli Jerry. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But I think that's the best way of looking at us as a resource. We could do good events. The dinner every year is always a highlight of, I've been going to the dinner for, 20 years now. And
an amazing networking opportunity, too, for people who want to get involved.
That's true. That's true. It is, for those people, and we meet a lot of people every year who come for the first time. And when they come and they go, like, oh, Gary, you know who I met? I met this person. Well, if you didn't come, you wouldn't meet these people. And I think the people who come to, and this is the way I think at certain times people get viewed too. The people who do show up to the events or to the dinner, I wouldn't say events, but to the dinner once a year, that is the who's who of New York City baseball.
Yep.
And that's just the way it is. When you walk in, you see the commissioner of the PSAL, you see the Catholic high schools, you see everyone, the guy who runs the sandlots. You see everyone in one room. That's a collection of baseball's best of New York City. And I think that's something that all of us together should take a little bit more pride in. And as we take pride in that, we continue building this. We are all custodians of this game. There's no one who wrote the game but Abner Doubleday. I always tell people that. If you think you wrote the game, then guess what? Go to the Hall of Fame and go study. But we're all people who are custodians of the game and want to do the best we can. And the reason why we do it is because of the kids. And we do it for the kids, and because we have a lot of kids that we would like to pave a path for to go certain places. And everybody has their own experience, too, of the reason why they stayed in baseball. And if you ask each person, well, Gary, why did you get into baseball in the beginning? Oh, there's a story behind everything.
Oh, yeah.
And then, when you look at the people that, you get to work with over the years, those are the people who feel your passion more to keep you going. I have a letter hanging in my office, handwritten by, we mentioned Roland Heeman years ago, and for the people that are on this, Roland Heeman he was working with Bill Veeck years ago with the White Sox, one of the best baseball executives probably ever in the industry, got the Buck O'Neill Award a couple of years ago. And he handwrote me a note once. And when he handwrote me a note, he's in his 80s now, I put it on my wall. And I remember, if I need advice, I call him. If I need advice, I pick up the phone, I call Billy, I call Danny. I am not bigger or lesser than anyone in the game of baseball because of position, title, or anything else. And I think that's the way everybody should look at it.
So I was talking to John Hart about T-Bone for the documentary, and he said something that T-Bone taught him a long, long time ago was give your gifts, because you can't take that with you when you're gone. What you have left is the legacy that you leave, what you've given back to everybody. So I think what I've noticed, and I've known this group and been a part of it now since I was a kid, but that's what's so beautiful about this organization is that it's about giving back. It's about passing it forward and helping bring people up. And so, I think utilizing
that's a good way of putting it, Jesse. You know what? What do we do on a daily basis? The best thing to do on a daily basis is to share your experiences with everybody else to better themselves.
Yep.
And if you could do it properly and you do it the right way, you're going to guide people to certain directions. And now they might not get to where they want to go all the time, but it's a path that people will get to. And I think those who've been given the opportunity to do it and to guide people in the right direction, I think it's be very blessed by that. You got to be blessed.
So now we're going to change the subject a little bit.
Sure.
The Binghamton Rumble Ponies, who we mentioned before, announced that their season would open on time on April 9th, as scheduled against the Akron Rubber Ducks. This is a couple days ago on MLB The Show. And they've been posting content on their site. Have you seen any of the cool initiatives that MLB is doing and the minor league teams are doing on Twitch and Instagram Live? And what do you think of all of it?
I think it's great. I think one of the things that everybody's been challenged to do is to stay engaged with the game and utilizing whatever they can. So if it's playing PlayStation or playing 2K the show or whatever it is, if it's creating that bond with people to kind of tune in and keep the game going, that's awesome. And that's what we should be doing. We've seen, Eddie Blankmeyer, we've mentioned him before. I had Eddie do a video. I'm like, the organization said, Gary, could you make a video for us to do, in the driveway with your son hitting? I said, you know what? Let me get Ed Blankmeyer. Eddie did a couple of short series, and we put them out on Instagram, and it worked out great. And it gives back to the community, and that's one thing that we all should be doing now. Anybody who's involved with the game of baseball should be giving back right now. Time to give back the game to the community, and like MLB is doing, like the players are doing. And when this all began, when we started staying home, I shared a text message. MLB Network and I, we work very closely together on initiatives. Sailing Out to the Show, one of them. The other one, so I text my person over at the network and I said, why don't we have a player versus a fan and do it in the show and everything else? It's like, I don't know if they'll do that. We got to talk about players. It got all political and everything else. So I said, all right. So then all of a sudden he called me up because we're going to be doing players playing each other. I said, that's pretty cool.
That is,
but it's just, we all exchange ideas together too, because the thing is, if we're all out there, like the Rumble Ponies, John Hughes and his group up there, like you have to stay engaged because you want the fans to know that you're not going nowhere. And we are, and for the most part, those people who are doing stuff are the real people. There's been a lot of articles that have been written recently. I read one this morning that's pretty, it's pretty damaging to minor league baseball for the most part. With the way everything's going today and not knowing when the draft is going to be or a season is going to be, minor league baseball, the season's in jeopardy.
Yeah.
We might not have a season, and that's going to hurt a lot of people. It's going to hurt a lot of people who work in front offices and everything else. But keeping engaged with, like today, I spent my entire day today on the phones. I worked with a lot of the hospitals here between Brooklyn and Staten Island and in the city. I was talking to them. Do you need anything? What can we do? Just giving back. And I think that's what been most creative is that we get to the best when we're forced to do something good. And minor league teams seem to have, and major league teams seem to have a knack at doing great things.
100%. We got some sad news last night.
Yeah, very.
New York Post sports photographer Anthony Causey passed away. I know he's been sick for a couple of weeks, and that's rocked a lot of people in our community.
Yeah.
I read a story today from Joe McDonald about how he used to offer him rides all the time. Mark Feinzan said he would always text people photos, just surprise them. You posted, I think I should be able to pull it up. Let's see. Okay. So you posted this photo. It automatically crops in, so it doesn't do it justice. I don't know if you can see it.
I have one of the photos here.
Why don't you grab it? Because I think it does it justice if we can actually see it. But yeah, you have an Anthony Causey story, so I want you to talk about that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, when we first started years ago, I got a chance to that one. I have my assistant here. Say hello. Come on in. Say hello. You need a haircut.
Hey, bud, how are you? You both need haircuts.
Yeah, it is.
You're matching.
We're matching haircuts, yeah. But years ago, I first met Joe Causey from CBS FM, and we became friends. And he goes, "Oh, my nephew, he's a photographer, Gary. I get to meet him." So we met years ago. We became friends. I would see him at the stadium and everything else. And a tremendous human being, just tremendous person. He actually reached out to me several times about, I want to get more involved with whatever you're doing, Gary. I want to be more involved with.
That's awesome.
Okay, cool. But one story that I do have is from 2018. We were playing at the kids at Staten Island Central Little League. They had won the city championship, and my son happened to be part of the team. And I wanted to do something special for the kids, so we had them come out to the ballpark in Brooklyn. And it just so happened to be the same day they came out. Noah Syndergaard happened to be there from the Mets. And so we were behind home plate, and I'm there, and I see the kids lining up, but I had to do something. I was actually working at the time. And I'm like, he's like, Gary, is that your son over there with his team? I said, yeah. I said, he goes, I'm going to grab the photo for you. I said, perfect, please. So we grabbed the photo, and it's a little big. This one's a little big here, but you can see it now. There's Noah over here. But when he grabbed the photo, he didn't realize in the photo, kid looking back right over here, just so happened to be my son. And he caught that moment. And when he caught that moment, it wasn't planned. He didn't tell him to look back. He just caught that photo. And, you know, I looked at him when he sent it to me. I said, that's little league, big league dreams, looking back at the guy on the mound. And if it was someone else's son who was part of the picture, it'd still be a great picture.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those things that I have it hanging in my basement now, and it's been here ever since. And I cherish that. And, you know, to Anthony and his family, our prayers with you. You know, everyone, there's so many stories that are out there today of Anthony's great work that he did, and especially for the Mets and the Yankees and Cyclones. You know, we thank you for all his work in the New York Post.
Very, very beautiful. And thank you for sharing that. I asked you the last time, and we ask everybody, you were the first guest, to bring some light through the dark times. So you already answered this question, but since then, what's the best thing that's happened to you since you've been quarantining?
The best thing that's happened, I think I lost a few pounds. No, no, I hope I did. But what's happened is get a lot of reflection time, a lot of time to sit back, a lot of time to reflect. So much time during the day, you know, there's only so much work you could do, you know, but you get a chance to sit back, reflect. Spending time with the family has been interesting for the most part. You know, we've been together in the house for 24 days, and no one's killed each other yet, which is
good news.
Plus, it's a plus, and I think so. What's been great about not great about it, but what's been good about it is that you get time to sit back and reflect and work on things that maybe you haven't had time to work on. And it gives you kind of way of sitting back and doing that. One of the things that you could do too is just to, you know, realize that you're very fortunate at this time if nothing's happened to you or your family, or, you know, to just be safe. You know, we just hope that eventually, you know, you get out of all this and there'll be some kind of normalcy as we go along.
100%. And if anybody has questions, we pinned it at the bottom there. You can also type in the little question mark for Gary Perone of the Cyclones with his beautiful hair and his New York Pro Scouts hat, the VP of our organization. Yes. Feel free to type them in. We are going to do baseball cards now, Gary. I picked some new cards for you.
Okay.
Gotta turn the camera around here. And we'll start with the first one. Jose Reyes on the Marlins.
Very nice. Nice card you got there.
What comes to mind about Jose?
Jose Reyes, he rehabbed in Brooklyn. We got a chance to meet Jose. Nice guy, great infielder. He was a great New York Met, and yeah, that's about it.
Next one. Did you ever meet Jeff Francoeur? He's now an announcer with the Braves.
No, I have never. I know people who know Jeff, and they say he's a great guy. He's very funny. Jeff was one of those hard-nosed players. You know, I used to like watching him play. He was pretty cool.
There's also a story for anybody out there interested in reading a funny article. I guess he was with Amarillo, or he was with a minor league team, and his teammates convinced him that one of the other teammates was deaf for the entire season. And so they went through the whole season, and you gotta check this story out. If you Google it, you'll definitely find this. But Jeff Francoeur is just an awesome baseball guy in general. All right, next one. Michael Kadire.
Michael Kadire. He was a good right-handed hitter. He had some good years. He played with the Mets for that one short stint, and he was okay.
And he's a magician too, I think.
Is he really? I don't know much about that stuff, but
the Mets did a whole segment. I don't know. Maybe we're in one of those games, but occasionally, you know, they do those little video board segments.
Well, Jesse, when the Mets are playing baseball games,
you're a little busy.
I'm a little working, yeah.
Yeah.
So I miss those things.
So he used to do magic, and I also think he did I don't know, like drawing or something. John Franco, this one.
Look at that guy.
Look, yeah, with the Reds. These are all Met people who are not on the Mets.
I figured that. Johnny Franks. Johnny is, yeah, listen, I can't say enough about John. John is one of those people who he's become a friend, a brother. We've worked together over the years doing great stuff here in the city. You know, we're on the phone just early today, and John put out a PSA for the NYPD. John, you know, He is as advertised. I remember that there's a good John Franco story I have from when he was that age. Um, I must have been playing youth baseball for 62nd Precinct, and John was the guest speaker at the 62nd Precinct dinner, and he came, and that was the year I won an award. I go up, and John gave me my first MVP award.
Really?
And yeah, so now I go back and I joke about it, like I call him Grandpa, and I tell him, you're old. And he has a couple of choice words for me, but but outside of that, now John's a beautiful man, and he's a good man. He was a great relief pitcher, and I wish he's the only left-handed reliever with the most saves, and I wish John would get a second chance at that Hall of Fame for himself.
That's what Ed Blankmeyer said too. He's a Hall of
Yep.
Famer. All right, I'm going to add a wrinkle here. Pick
Yep.
whatever year this is. What was his ERA? Or the year before. This is a new wrinkle to baseball cards.
I have zero clue. I have no idea.
Take a guess. Neither do I. That's why it's fun.
If it's John, I'm going to say 5 foot. No. Let's go let's say 2.84. How's that for a guess?
All right, let's see. Is it on here? Not too far off. 2.52.
There you go.
2.94. That is not bad. All right, last one.
All right.
Rookie card on the Athletics, Yoenis Cespedes.
Oh, boy. Yoenis, I wish he could just get better and play. You like to see that guy from 2015 once again come out and start hitting the ball the way he did. And he's a great player. When he wants to be great, he's a great player. And, that's Yoenis. I did another cool little fun fact story off of baseball cards. 2 years ago, I was down in spring training, and Yoenis has a party every year at his ranch, and we had a chance to go see the ranch. That's insane, by the way.
Yeah.
We asked him a question. Hey, how many acres do you have? He goes, I don't have acres. I have miles. So that just tells you how big the place is. But Yoenis Cespedes is a tremendous baseball player, and hopefully he's healthy and he comes back and he could help the Mets when they get back on the field.
He's got 2 new heels. I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
All right.
Two new heels and some time off.
Exactly. All right. We got another question from Billy Blitzer. What are some of your favorite minor league parks, not Citi Field or MCU?
My favorite minor league. I like the older. I like the older parks, the older minor league parks. When Oneonta was around, it was old. Williamsport was pretty cool.
The Cross.
Alex Santos. Sarah, how are
What's
you?
up, Alex Santos? How you doing?
Yes. But minor league parks, listen, Staten Island Yankees have a beautiful ballpark. Overlooks the water there.
Yeah.
The skyline in the back. Hudson Valley Renegades, I like their ballpark too. It's pretty cool, quaint. Tri-City Valley Cats. Lehigh Valley.
You're a Penn League guy, it seems like. Not shocking.
I've only spent 20 years in the Penn League, but I've been to Lehigh Valley, I've been to Trenton, I've been to a dozen. But I like Lehigh Valley a lot. They have a great facility, the way their setup is, and it's about it on the minor league side.
It's like Billy was reading my mind on Rapid Fire, which comes next. So, what's your favorite ballpark food?
My favorite ballpark food?
Yep.
Well, this past season was pizza because we had pizza for the first time in the brick oven, so I like pizza this year. But when I go depends on where I go. If I'm at Citi Field, if you're at Citi Field, you got to go for the Shake Shack. That's the staple.
Yeah.
Shake Shack burgers are great. But actually, the hidden gem at Citi Field is in right field. There's a place called Nicoletta's.
Okay.
They have the best chicken parmesan sandwiches I've ever had in a ballpark.
Wow.
Yes, and that's coming from
a
true Italian. It's a
Yeah.
true Italian speaking. It's very good. But this, you have the hot dogs. I've had so many hot dogs since working in Coney Island. It's, I don't like chicken fingers and fries. Overrated. Don't like it.
Totally. We got another audience question here, and somebody used the little audience question thing. So this is
cool.
Good. How can we get one of those cool hats from Alex Santos?
We could go to. We could probably. Billy, do we have any left?
You could DM on Instagram. We'll connect you with Billy, and we're getting a website soon. We're getting that going, so we'll hopefully be selling some stuff on there, right? Yes,
we're going to be having on the site. We're going to have the hats, the polo shirts, and some other cool stuff that we'll be able to have out there. But I think we might have some hats left.
Nice. All right, we're going to go to rapid fire.
Okay.
And if you have more questions for Gary, throw them at the bottom.
Yes.
But
Listen, I have nowhere to go, so I'm good to go. I can stay on. We could ask questions. Go crazy.
Well, Billy got my first one, so it was favorite stadium other than city and MCU, but I'm going to change it to, since he asked the ballpark food. Would you eat the chipolinas, which is those seasoned, what are they, crickets in Seattle? Have you heard about how they introduced that? And they sell
Uh,
out every game. Would you eat them?
I would try one. Yes, I would try one. Just to say, I could try one. I wouldn't. If I liked it, then I would have more. But I would try one. If I didn't like it, then I would move on.
Is that the craziest ballpark food you've heard of, or like the boomstick? What's the craziest minor
We've
league or major league?
there's been so many people. A couple of years ago, someone did something with Krispy Kreme donuts and burgers.
Yeah,
And then you have every ballpark tries to outdo each other. But that whole phenomenon started a couple of years ago. And actually, my brother was the one who started the bacon on a stick. He was the one,
nice.
the pig guy. The pig guy was the bacon on a stick. He used to serve that stuff all over the place in City Fields. And now everybody starts doing it at all the ballparks. But, there's been a lot of great creative things to keep the fans involved. So, Peter Campanella, what's up, buddy? But there's been a lot of crazy things. I think the craziest one I've seen was the foot long with all the different toppings.
The boomstick in Texas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why would you even? It's disgusting. For me, I'm very meticulous. If I get a piece of like ketchup, I go crazy. So.
And the cool thing is too, and you've probably seen this at the beginning of the year now, every single stadium does like a food day. It's the coolest thing. And all the writers, the baseball writers now get to go taste all the new offerings, write about it. It's really unbelievable stuff. And Keith Rad has his broadcast bites.
Yes, he does.
Shout out to Keith.
Keith and I will be doing. I have to make grilled cheese for Keith because I make a mean grilled cheese. Nice. So I'll be doing that for broadcast bites this week.
Very cool. We'll check that out. All right. Favorite Beatle?
Favorite Beatle? Gotta be Paul McCartney. There you go.
Longevity is one for you. Okay.
Yes.
Cat or dog?
Dog. Hate cats. Cat is sneaky.
Most underrated ballpark food?
Underrated ballpark food. Depends on where you go. It all depends on who's cooking. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Underrated ballpark food?
We could keep that.
Nachos in a helmet. Nachos in a helmet sometimes is underrated.
So and last one. Tape, rubber band, or paperclip?
Paperclip.
Paperclip. Aunt Steven is a cat. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's the cat. Yes. Yes, he is. That's Catalano.
Any other questions from the audience? If we'd like, we can get to them with Gary Perone here. And just to tell you about some of the initiatives that the Scouts Association is doing, we've got, with Joey Jarazinko, we've got the Scouts Minute now every Saturday, and that's a minute we post on Instagram. It's IGTV on Instagram on our posts about the organization, coaches, scouts, players that they've signed. It's really exciting. Check that out. We do this every Monday and Thursday. Our Instagram lives, and these are interviews with various New York City baseball people. We got some cool ones in the works. Jim Cuthbert sent in about 9,000 amazing photos, so now we're doing Cuthbert's Corner every week.
I think all the initiatives that we put forward in the past few weeks have been really good, and I think people getting involved, people sending in their baseball photos, their favorite baseball photos. I know one of the other things, as you guys know, I'm involved with the Borough Cup. Zach has been doing a tremendous job with the Borough Cup. He's doing what's called one a day so the kids can play. We started that a couple of weeks ago, and it's worked out real well. The new Scouts Minute came out. Joe did a great job. It's excellent, and I think that for the people who are joining this, and as this thing continues to grow, and it will grow, we'll keep them busy, Billy. Job, let's keep them busy. But the things that as we continue growing and the kids get more involved with this too, they're going to start seeing all these different cool things and learning. And I think anybody who is a coach right now, or who is involved, should really tune in and listen, because some of the people we've had on so far, Jesse, you've been doing a tremendous job with this, with everyone, with Christy Ackert, and then talking to the media writers, and then getting the baseball people on. This is what it's all about. It's about keeping New York City baseball, the fabric together, keeping the initiatives really cool and fun. Not just oh, would shove things down your throat, but no, these are just cool, really cool things just to stay connected.
100%. My personal favorite, not maybe not the coolest thing we're doing overall, but my personal favorite. If you're not following the Corona Bird Feud 2020, Christy Ackert after her show and the New York Pro Scouts Instagram account are going back and forth with bird pictures. Billy's pretty involved with this. It's good for laughs. I don't know if you've seen it, but that explains all the bird
actually,
pictures.
I watch it and I like, okay, that's funny, and that's what's great about having this platform to work on too, and the social media part of it is to you could do a lot of. It doesn't have to be all baseball. It could be fun stuff.
Could be birds.
And it could be birds. It just whatever's going to keep people engaged. That's what we do. We do anything to keep you guys engaged.
All right, Gary. Last question from me. What does baseball mean to you? You've answered it once, but it's a timeless question.
What does baseball mean to me? Baseball has been a tremendous part of my life. It's been a part of my life since a kid. I've taken it to adulthood. I've made a career out of it. I've been very fortunate to work with a lot of great people, a lot. And if we, one day, maybe that's what I should be doing, writing my notes in my journal here. But having an opportunity to work with so many people and to be able to go out there and to be given the platform to put, to do more baseball stuff and provide. My biggest thrill of what we do for baseball is not for me. It's never been for me personally. It's been for the kids. It's been for the families. It's been for people that I know, to give them the experience of certain things that maybe they wouldn't have access to, and seeing the smiles on their faces. Creating those nights that we participate in, whether it be when I'm working, putting together the crazy nights at the ballpark, doing things. Baseball to me is about unity and keeping people together and making them enjoy and getting their minds off of the real stuff for a little while. And that's all we could really do and that's what baseball is. Baseball is the outlet. And that's why maybe I love it so much, because it's not real. In the grand scheme of things, the real stuff is what we're going through today. The real stuff is the people, the doctors that I know, the people I know who work in the hospitals, the cops I know. I have a lot of friends who are cops who are out there working, firemen, all the frontline people. Those are the people who have the real jobs. And for us, what we do in baseball is we give that outlet to get away for a few hours. And that's why we look at baseball as a big thing for the summertime, because we have I always said baseball is a soap opera. And it's an ongoing soap opera for months. And it allows us to live a certain kind of way, to not worry about paying the bills, to not worry about, oh my God, little Johnny's got to do this, or it's an escape from reality. And I think that's why I enjoy baseball, and I enjoy the people, everything. Whatever it is, baseball means a lot to me. There's a lot of reasons, winning rings is cool. Don't get me wrong. That's been pretty cool.
Yeah, your ring was on the first show. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's down here somewhere. Yeah. Well, he has the ring.
So your assistant.
Yeah, I don't know how he got one, but he got one. But
So you gave me an idea. I don't know if you've seen MLB Network's got Sean Casey. Do you have your ring?
He's bring it up. He's gonna put it on.
Sweet.
No, he's wearing a San Diego Padres t-shirt. I don't know why.
I'm wearing a Diamondbacks polo. I mean,
there you go.
It's an NL West kind of day, GJ. I feel you. Show everybody the ring. This is the Brooklyn Cyclones ring. If you haven't seen it yet, it's pretty cool. Not too shabby. Does it have your name on it too?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. So you gave me an idea, Gary. I don't know if you've seen MLB Network's got Sean Casey and Al Leiter scouting kids, just videos they're sending in of them playing baseball. Boys, girls, anything. So if anybody's out there watching this, and we're going to post it afterwards, send in your videos. We'll get Major League Scouts and college coaches to critique your video. Why not?
Yeah, that's actually a good point, Jesse. Sam After the Show started last year, and we actually, Billy was part of it last year when we had it at the ballpark in Brooklyn. Eric Burns, Mark DeRosa came out to the ballpark, and we did a segment with the kids, and it was great. And the kids, the the meaning of getting the kids out there to show themselves. Today's world of social media, we know that tremendous, vehicle for these kids to, but it keeps them engaged, and that's what we want people to do. Stay engaged with baseball as much as you can. If you want your son to be looked at, send a video in, send it to
Yeah.
Jesse.
You've
We'll
heard it
give
here
it some.
first. We're going to get Major League Scouts. I know we actually do have now. Since we started getting more active, the kids have started getting more active with our stuff. So send in your video. We'll have Major League Scouts give you some pro tips. You heard it here first. All right, Gary, this is awesome. Thank you for doing this. Check out everybody.
Oh,
We've got coming up on Thursday. We've got another one of these. Joey's going to do another minute on Saturday. And we got new programming coming at you all the time, and it's exciting stuff.
and also, just
Yeah,
want
go
to add
ahead.
this. I want to add this too for the people that are out there who joined in and watching. If you're I see we have one of the Cyclones from last year on. Frankie's on.
What's up, Frankie?
Frank's from Long Island. He's a champion Cyclone guy. If you're a player, if you're a coach, if you're someone who's involved with New York City baseball, reach out to Jesse, reach out to us. Let's talk and let's get everybody together and see. And if you have ideas that you want to see that we post or we could do for you, then let us know. And that's what it's all about.
100%. So thank you to you, Gary Perone.
You got it.
Thank you to Business Lunch Productions. This is another New York Pro Scouts live. This has been the Hot Stovers with Gary and Jesse. And we'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye, Gary.
Take care, Jesse. Thank you.